ladies who want to grow their ass, no more with all this garbage that I see on Instagram.
Like what?
Then, I don't know, the million hip thrust.
Why are they so into the heavy hip thrust?
Okay, so this is great. This has to do with the quad conspiracy. Okay, so what they say to girls is, you're going to have to just do hip thrusters because it isolates the glutes. It's a good,
hip thrusters are nice.
I'm
but
also
I just
not anti-hip thruster. To the world, I'm not anti-hip thruster. Bret Contreras come for me. But I love hip thrusters. But what the premise is if we take your legs out of the exercise and I just solely load your glutes, that seems like a good idea because then I'm not growing their legs, I'm simply growing their glutes. And does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely. Seems like a great idea. Two things happen with that. One is when girls start to go that heavy, they're usually not going into full extension. What a hip thruster is meant to do is squeeze at the top.
But what do they think the hip thrusts are doing
So
for
they
them?
think that girls love the burn and hip thrusts feed the burn. So women chase the burn. We're taught that and it makes sense. If you don't understand about how to grow muscle and stuff, the burn would seem like, well, this is logical. This is growing my glutes.
You know what, Lauren? You've been chasing the burn, haven't you?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The burn has a duty. It's just not the main one.
All right, that was posted today. I'm reacting in real time to this. That was Sandy Brockman on the Him and Her podcast. She brings up a good point. If you're going so heavy on hip thrusts that you're not reaching full hip extension, then are you reaping the maximum benefits? I actually want to do this study. One group does full range. Another group does top partials. You might have heard these as CAS glute bridges. They're just hip thrust pulses. And then bottom hip thrust pulses, like going heavy or not locking out. Which group would grow the best? I don't think we know the answer to that. I know the long length crew, the stretch cult would say the heavier hip thrust done for like bottom half partials. The neuromechanical matching crew would say the shortened partials would win. Mike Israetel followers would say full ROM is best, but we don't know the answer to that. But here's my take. Since you do tons of stuff to work the glutes in the stretch position, all your lunges, single leg RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, squats, deep leg presses, etc., we do those to work the stretch position, so do hip thrust to work the squeeze position. So make sure you're not going so heavy that you don't get full hip extension and don't get that big squeeze at the top. Nevertheless, if you train glutes 3 times a week like my girls, you can do heavy hip thrusts, you can do moderate hip thrusts, you can do light hip thrusts, you can do all the different hip thrust variations because you can do hip thrusts 3 times a week. So definitely don't be afraid to go heavy, but as Sandy said, make sure you reach full hip extension. I'm Bret Contreras, and this is Adora, aka the Glute Guy.